Hi, Sue Frey here. Berks County is full of history, but some of it is not easy to tell. Please follow me as I continue my series of videos on what frontier life was like here in Berks County in the 1700s. Because the people who lived here, who struggled here, who worked here, and quite a few who were murdered here, deserve to be remembered. A little while back I did a video on Conrad Weiser. He, from here, lived over that way near Wilmelsdorf. He was a friend to the settlers, and he was also a friend to the Native Americans, and he tried to keep the peace. And he did a fairly good job of it, but the tensions between the two continued to rise, and they really got worse after the walking purchase, which was basically a land swindle by the William Penn sons against the Indians, where the Indians lost over 1.2 million acres of land. I'll be doing a separate video on just that, what happened, how it came about, and how the Indians were tricked or swindled, which they were. That created a lot of resentment because, I mean, they were down Philadelphia. We're here in Berks County, right by Strausstown. The whole section stolen from the Indians. It caused resentment, and that resentment festered. The Native Americans were pushed out of their homes, some of them as far west as Ohio. And like I said, that resentment simmered until, with the French and Indian War, it basically boiled over. And frontier here in Berks County became very violent. Many people, like I said earlier, they lost their lives. Homes were attacked. People killed, or people, like what happened with the Hochsteters, I told you about in the other video I did already. They're captured and taken away and absorbed into the tribes. It was a very difficult time for people, and communities had to decide, are we going to stay here and fight for what we're trying to build? Or are we going to leave and basically save our lives? For some, the choice was a difficult choice to make, like with the Hochstetter case. For others, they got blindsided, basically. Still others misunderstood. My videos contain, will be, like I said, I already did Conrad Weiser. I did the Hochstetter massacre, which occurred just over this way, as the crow flies, maybe a couple miles, near Charlottesville. Here we are at the foothills, basically, of the Blue Mountains. And this was, like I said, the frontier. We had the Hochstetter massacre. We had the Spatz farm, where 6 people lost their lives. And the road here, Bloody Spring Road, got its name. We also had the Degler farm, which was a case of misunderstanding. You can see in the distance that white farmhouse. In front of that is the original Degler home. I'll be doing a video on that. I will be also doing a video on Fort Northkill, which sat, sorry, there's a street sign in the way, which sat over in this general area. This is where the settlers in this area would gather to try and stay safe when the Indians were having an uprising. 24 families cramming into this tiny little area. There's also the Coble massacre, which happened in 1755 and basically started a lot of the unrest here in this area. So there's a lot to uncover. There's a lot to learn about. And the people who lived here, who struggled, they deserve to be remembered. So please, join me on my videos as I talk about the communities and the people who lived here and sometimes died here, because these are stories worth remembering.